am sad to announce that our board member, Alice Riley, and her husband, Brian, are going to move back to England in the fall. And so there will be a vacancy on our board. And if you would like to serve on our board, please let one of the officers or let Debbie know. Otherwise, we'll come and get you. But
we should say the line starts here.
Right, the line starts here. We would love to have, we're sorry, very sorry to lose Alice, but we would love to have one of you on our board. Our November 10th program, which is next after Dr. Silverman on October 15th. On November 10th, we will be taking a look at the changes to Family Tree Maker and a demonstration of other software, genealogy software. And December 10th is our Bell and Tell Hanukkah party. And people will have wonderful food, of course, and people will tell us interesting experiences they have had in working on their family trees. And if you are aware of some new resource or some new group you'd like us to know about, you can write them on either whiteboard. I found 2 Facebook groups recently that talk about Belarus genealogy. And I mean, they're not going to change your life, but they're interesting. The one on Belarus, Jewish genealogy and ancestral travel, is actually the owner of that Facebook page is in Belarus, I believe, and so he has a lot of resources. Any other new business?
When did you say the meeting was in November?
November is November 10th.
It's a Friday.
That's a Friday.
Oh, right. You know what I meant. It's the Sunday then.
Right, so that's 12. That's the 12th.
Sorry
Thank
about
you, Albert. And is the 10th a Sunday? December 10th? Okay. If there's no other new business, anybody have any new business? If there is not any more, I'd like to introduce our program for today on Mormon church records and family search. Our presenter is Devin Blake. He's a graduate student at UNC. And his library search focuses on pancreatic cancer, for which we all thank him very much. I think probably not too many people who don't know somebody who has had pancreatic cancer, and we haven't moved along as far as we have in other areas. So it's definitely an area that needs research. Outside the lab, his research focuses on all things genealogy and particularly knowledgeable about German genealogy. So if you have any interest in German genealogy, I'm sure you'll find this interesting. Devin? Thank you.
German, admittedly not Jewish. But.
Why don't you go ahead and set up everything here? You'll find this tape very helpful.
Perfect. All right, so I think I can project without a microphone. If I ever say something and I'm not speaking loud enough or I mumble, let me know. Also, as I'm going through this, it's meant to be very interactive. So feel free to stop me, ask me any questions. I can't guarantee I'll be able to answer them, but
Make it up. We won't know the difference. Well, we might.
Well, for some of the questions, you all might know better than myself. That is the right place.
And power is
Okay.
underneath.
I got, oh, okay.
You can do that too, but
This
there's
should work. Yeah, of course. Excellent. All right, so I have some handouts, so you can take one and pass it down. Also, as part of, so I am the director of the Family History Center at the LDS Church in Chapel Hill. And obviously, as was mentioned, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we offer at the Family History Center. Included in that is monthly workshops on various genealogy topics. As an example, yesterday there was one on DNA testing, using DNA testing for genealogical purposes. There will be a follow-up to that next month. In November, there will be a Family Discovery Day, which will be a morning's worth or a day's worth of various seminars given by people on various aspects of genealogy. Debbie's going to do a class there. So if you're interested in receiving emails regarding these classes, sign up, and I will put you on the mailing list. Okay. So a little bit about myself. I'm Devin, apparently, obviously. So I'm from Massachusetts, and I was born and raised there. I went out to Brigham Young University in Utah to do my undergrad, and while I was there, my two brothers and I decided we wanted to take a class together. Because of our age difference, we hadn't had the opportunity to do that before, so we decided to take an easy class. It had to be like half a credit, 1 hour a week, and so we took German family history. Because why not? And so, you know, the rest, as they say, is history. That's how I got into family history. So that was 5 years ago now. So I have far less experience than a lot of you, but it is definitely my passion. You might notice I have something here. This is one of my prized possessions. So I'll get into that. But so at the Family History Center, we're run by volunteers. So a group of volunteers that are able to help you out with any questions you might have. We have many resources. We have computers that have access to special premium genealogical websites that otherwise you'd have to pay for. An example of some are written down here. So Ancestry, we have access to Ancestry. If you don't already yourself have access to Ancestry. Fold 3, military records. MyHeritage, which is predominantly European records. Find My Past, which has records regarding the UK. Archive which is Swedish records. Geneanet, which is European. And then newspaperarchive.com, and I highlighted that one because I want to tie that into this. Yeah, question?
Do you have the same access that the Mormon Church in Raleigh, these databases?
So wherever there is a family history center at a Mormon church, then yes, you will have, not all Mormon churches have a family history center, but at the Mormon churches that have a family history center, yes, you'll have the same access. Great. So when I first started, I was researching my great-grandfather, Fred Tone. And I went on newspaperarchive.com and found a newspaper article. And let's see if I can find it. I'm not going to be able to find it, of course. But it mentioned that he was racing pigeons. And they had won a pigeon racing competition in Buffalo, New York. And this was surprising to me. I had heard nothing about it. And so next time I visited my family in upstate New York, I naturally mentioned this. Did you know that Great-Grandpa Tone used to race pigeons? And one of my aunts was like, yeah, I knew that. And he got a trophy, and we have the trophy somewhere. I was like, where's this trophy? She said, I don't know, but she'll look around. She'll ask around. As it turns out, her cousin in Alaska had the trophy. She had passed away previously, but the trophy was acquired and given to me to be the custodian of. Okay, and this is not just any trophy. This is a nice trophy. And he won this actually at the Pan American Games in 1901, where one of the presidents of the United States was assassinated. Yes, it was McKinley. Thank you. Thank you for someone for knowing that. But anyway, this is now one of, it's a family heirloom. And it all started because I went to this website that was available at the Family History Center. Now, I'm not going to promise that all of you, if you go to the Family History Center, you'll find a trophy, but you might. Okay. As I mentioned, there are monthly workshops on a variety of topics, and there are also microfilm readers. Now, how many of you have ordered microfilms from the LDS Church in the past? Okay, a number of you. So the LDS Church has over 2 million microfilms that actually now they've been discontinued. Okay, so previously you could order them, they would be shipped to the center, and you'd be able to look at them on microfilm readers. That is now an outdated technology. It has been for a while. And so the LDS Church is working on digitizing all of those microfilms and then putting the images from those microfilms on Family Search. Now, this is a process that has been ongoing for a number of years. It's estimated that about 75% of all of the microfilms are now available digitally. The project will run until through completion. The only date that we've been given is by 2020, everything will be online. Yeah.
So are you saying that you can't, like for the things that haven't been digitized yet, you can't get the tapes?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, you can't.
And what about the ones that are permanently at, say, like the Chapel Hill branch, because I reordered it or not?
Yeah.
Are those still there?
Yes, those will be kept there. So if you have ordered one, I guess in the past couple months, it was a permanent one. So up until it was September 8th was the deadline. If you had ordered one up until then, if it was at the center, it would stay at the center. It wouldn't be shipped back. So all the ones that are at the center that you've ordered in the past will be there indefinitely. I don't think we have any plans at this moment to get rid of them. And we have working microfilm readers. So based on copyright restrictions or the agreement that the LDS Church has with whatever organization is in charge of that record, some of those digitized records will only be available for viewing at a computer at the Family History Center. And I'll show you an example of that. Whereas some will be available to view on your computer at home. And so we'll get into that. So we've modified our hours slightly recently. We used to be open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the day and in the evening, and then on Saturdays. The hours are at the top now. So we've eliminated Wednesdays. Unfortunately, we had to do that because the volunteer situation. As this is a volunteer-run organization, you rely on volunteers, and sometimes you just can't get enough people. So the hours are up at the top. So Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 2, so during the day, and then in the evening from 7 to 9, and Saturday from 10 to 2. Okay. Anything else about the Family History Center itself? Any other questions about the Family History
I have
Center
a
itself?
question about the hours. When are the quietest, slowest time?
To be honest with you, I have never seen more than like 4 people in there at a time. So they're all pretty quiet. I would say generally evenings are even more quiet. So I work 1 or 2 evenings a month, and I never have more than 1 person in there. Some evenings I don't even get anyone. I think a lot more is being put online nowadays, and so I think the general feel among genealogists or among people wanting to do genealogy is that I don't need to go into the actual Family History Center to look at records because I can just do it online. But what they don't realize is that there are specific resources only available at the center that aren't available anywhere else. But I think a lot of people that a lot of newer people that we might have attracted 10 years ago because there wasn't internet, we're probably not attracting anymore because they're all like, oh, I'm starting out, but I can do it online. So that's how it is. Any other questions, general questions regarding the Family History Center itself? Okay. Great. So I want to jump in, and today I wanted to focus on FamilySearch.org specifically. So Family Search is a nonprofit organization. It's the largest nonprofit genealogical resource. Everything about it is completely free to everyone. It is affiliated with the Mormon Church, but is not owned by the Mormon Church. There are millions of indexed records, maybe even billions now. But what I'll get into in a little bit is that there are a vast majority, over 50% of the records that are available on Family Search have not been indexed. Meaning that if you put in a simple search for your ancestor, the record wouldn't pop up. But you can find the digital image of the birth record of your ancestor. But you have to know how to navigate to find that, as is the case with many places. Okay, so the goal of Family Search is different from the goal of, say, Ancestry. Right? So the goal of Ancestry is everyone has their own personal tree that they're working on, and they attach sources to that particular tree. But if my brother's working on a tree and I'm working on a tree, our trees could be different even though we have the same people in there. The goal of Family Search is to get one family tree for everyone. Okay? So it'll be basically one copy of one person that has ever existed. So all of my siblings will be working on the same person in our tree, even though it's not our tree, it's everyone's tree. And so this is good and bad, right? So it's good because it promotes collaboration. So it's easy to see who's working on people that you're interested in, and then reaching out to them and discussing things. But it's bad because people can change things. And anyone, in theory, anyone can change any piece of information, right? And so they can put in erroneous information. Now, I haven't come across, I don't think anyone that puts in erroneous information is purposely doing it, right? But there's that caveat that can happen. And so, as you all know, I'm sure you want to have your own personal copy of the research that you've done that you can refer back to in case something gets changed. But it's easy enough to change back if something has been changed incorrectly. So some of the benefits of Family Search are that you can source things, as is super important in genealogical research. You can attach documents, so you can scan documents, you can scan pictures, you can do stories, you can do audio files, and soon I think they'll probably even let you do video files. And so all that information then can be seen by anyone else working on that person. Okay, so how many of you have not used Family Search before? Okay, only a handful of you. Okay, so first, I'll look here to sign in. And if you have to create an account, you go to create account, you put in information, and off you go. I'm going to sign in. Okay, I guess I'll go to the start page. So right off the bat, when I sign in, it has some things where what were your ancestors doing in 1880 to their occupation, or someone put in a photo recently of one of my ancestors, or other things like that. It'll also give me recommended tasks. So it gives these little icons. This means that there is a source on Family Search that's related to this person that I can then attach to the person as a source, something like that. So to start off, I'm going to come to Family Tree.
Devin,
Yes.
so you got that telling him that there's a source, so
Yeah.
you go in and you add it. Now what about your brother, is he getting that same notice?
Probably, but if you add it, then the notice would go away because that source is already attached to the person. Yeah.
What if I don't want my brother to know that I'm looking? What if, some people don't get along and whatnot, and I just want to know that. Is it this public knowledge and,
Yeah. So if you have if you have an account on Family Search,
Yes.
And say like, this is my grandfather. If I attach a source to my grandfather, anyone that is on Family Search can look at my grandfather and see that I've attached that source.
Okay.
Excuse me. Everybody is essentially working on the same tree. There's a lot of bad information out there.
Absolutely.
What if some bad information ends up on your tree? Put there by someone else.
Yeah. You do the research yourself and you find out what is the correct information. You change that information and then you attach sources as to why that information is correct. I mean, it's when you're working in Family Search, you can no longer really think of it as your tree anymore. So you have to think about it as like one big tree. But for example, I don't do my research and put it on Family Search, right away. Okay, I have my own copy, right, in this program called Reunion. Some of you probably use, many other things. There was one that was just discussed. Yeah, family tree maker, right? That's another one. So everyone has their own thing. So I would do research in here, right? Figure out what is the correct information, and then move that with the sources onto family search. I might contact the people that have added the incorrect information and say, hey, I've updated this. But I would make sure that I specify which sources I have for like a particular birthday or a particular piece of information, so that that mistake won't be made in the future.
I noticed there was a discussion section.
Uh-huh.
Discussion.
Yes.
So if you had somebody who just kept insisting on putting erroneous information, can you at least in the discussion write, you know, why
Yes.
you think it's, and then other people can see that?
Yes. Yeah. So there's a discussion section and there's a notes section. To be honest, I don't know what the difference between the two is, but yes, there are those types of sections that you can add, like a note or a comment. Yeah, great. So for those of you, if you first log on, you won't see this. You'll only see what you yourself have entered, which is probably just going to be you. Okay. Because of privacy restrictions, privacy laws, only you will be able to see information for living people that you have inputted onto your family tree. Okay. So what does that mean? So when I started out, right, I didn't have my parents, I didn't have my in-laws. I had to manually enter in them, and then you see there's not information here. It's just a placeholder. So once I got to someone that was dead, if they were already in the system, meaning that someone had already put their information in there, as soon as I added them onto my tree, then it pulled in their information and all their ancestors, provided that information had already been put into family search. Okay. So what does this mean? Each person in family search has this 7-digit unique code. Can everyone see this? Do I need to make it bigger? Everyone can see it. Great. Okay. So LNBBTZC. That is the code for Harold Frederick Balmer. Okay. If there is a duplicate of him, this occurs. Okay. If there's a duplicate record that has been created by someone, it will have a different code. And one of the things that family search allows you to do is you can merge those duplicates into one person, right? To eliminate that duplicate and have the one person, you know.
Is that what only for your tree
No, it's
or universal?
yeah, universal. Okay. Yeah. So, going back to living people, this code right here is going to be different because this person is living. It's going to be different for my tree than it's going to be for my wife's tree. Okay? Because I have to input that information for living people in on my tree. No one else can see it. As I said, once I get to someone that's passed away, then it will be publicly available.
So the two Harold Frederick Balmers, different codes, when you merge them, whose data gets prioritized?
Yeah, so you can decide. Okay, so what it does, and I'll show you this later, is that it'll pull up the two people side by side, and you can decide what information is correct, and then you move it over to one side. In this case, it will be the left side. At the end of the merge, all the information on the left side will remain, and all the information on the right side.
But what if there's a couple of people, and what if the person really isn't dead? And somebody else puts them in as being dead? And does that allow the information that you put in that should be private until they die to end up in publicly out there because somebody else has decided they're dead?
That is a possibility, yes. I've never run into that. But yeah, that is a risk. But it's the same thing for like a tree on ancestry, right? If someone has a tree on ancestry with a person that's dead, it has that person's information, then anyone can see that information also. But yes, that could happen.
So if I want people to find me, all I do is put in that I died.
In theory, I mean, there are easier ways for to help people find you than that. So this is the general tree view, and if I want to navigate down any one of these branches, right, then I would just click on this, and it would do that. So you can see that with these people, once I get back, there are some icons here. Okay, this means that there's an error. Okay, it's not a standardized burial place. That's not a huge deal. But this one means that there's a record.
What's a standardized variable?
I will show you. Okay, so to get to a person's information, right, I click on the tree and I can either click on their name or I come person here. Okay, so the setup is such, right? You can add a life sketch. Okay, there's vital information. There's other information. So this is where you would add, anything from, what religion they were, a bunch of different things. Right? Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah. Over here is family members. So this is their spouse and their children. Okay. These are their parents and their siblings. And again, everyone has this unique code here. Coming down, these are sources that have been attached to that person. Now you might see two different sources, in this case. So all the ones that have this little tree icon, that means a source that is on Family Search has been attached to it. If I create a source and cite another website as an example, if I create that source, it'll have a different little icon. It's a picture of a globe. Then it means that source is not directly a record from Family Search. Okay. I'm getting to your question about the standardized burial place, I promise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
The code, what is the significance of that code? I mean, does that stand for anything?
No, not just when a person is created, they're given that code as a unique identifier. One of the things that you can do with that code is you can use it to find a particular person. Say you have an ancestor named Wilhelm Meyer. It's a really, really common name, right? And so if you come and okay, sorry, yeah, John Smith. Okay. All right. Okay. If you have an ancestor named John Smith, okay, very common name, and so it might be hard to find John Smith, right? Say if I'm working on John Smith and I say, oh, David is my brother, right? Oh, David, look at the information that I put in about John Smith. He might not be able to find him, but if I give him that code, he can put in that code, and I'll show you where, and he can just pull up his information right away.
Okay, so if you end up having two people that are the same and you merge them, I assume it's just going to assign one of the codes.
Yes.
Does the other one get reused?
No.
Okay.
And actually, if you try putting in that code, it'll tell you that the person has been deleted, and it'll give you a link that if you click on, it brings you to the person that is still there. So that code does not get reused. Yeah. Okay. So standardized burial place. We're getting there. Okay. So after sources, you have discussion and notes. And as I said, I don't know what the difference between the two is, but this is where you could add anything you want. No, I mean you can both see notes and discussions. So I'm sure there is a difference, but I don't know.
Well, the discussion would probably be when you're talking with other people. The note would just be.
Yeah.
Stories, a family
It's true.
story about that person.
Yeah, that's true. So over here, okay, it'll give you, you can print out various charts. I've never done this, but you can do it. This search records will take these 4 websites, and it will search the person's information to see what records pop up. So instead of having to go to the website and put in all their information, you can just go to their family search page, click on search records, and it will pull up information.
Is there any connection with Genie?
Oh, no, there's not.
Because is that kind of a parallel?
Yeah, so Genie, the purpose of Genie is also to make one family tree, right? But there's no, I guess, formal relationship between family search and Genie.
Excuse me, but are you saying that when you click on these things on the right, you silently go to that?
Yes, let me do it as an example. Okay, so I'll hit Ancestry. I'll say, you're leaving family search. Okay, that's great. Now this brings me to Ancestry, okay, and it's going to search using the information in there. Okay, look, it found her marriage record. It found Social Security application, okay, census record. So it'll use the information that's in Family Search to search in these other places.
And will it, if you then source it in Family Search, it will record there as well as?
Ooh, that's a good question. So how many of you have Ancestry accounts? Okay, so you might know that you can sync your Ancestry tree with Family Search. in that way, if you sync a person in your ancestry tree with a person on Family Search, you can move sources back and forth. If not, you can't easily just
to Ancestry.com and save my tree. So if I've heard this right, and I can create a link to update my tree in Family Tree Mega through Ancestry into Family Search, if someone deletes something or changes something, does that reflect all the way back up to
No.
my Family Tree Mega
No.
on my laptop?
No, it'll not change. No, it won't change it on both
Okay.
sides unless you bring up the person that is okay. So to simplify this, let's just do you have Ancestry tree and Family Search. Right? You have a particular piece of information on Ancestry. Someone changes it in Family Search. It will not change the Ancestry. But when you then look at those two people again, so on Ancestry you can't sync your whole tree. You have to do it person by person. So when you look at the two people again, it'll still have the piece of information that you put in. It won't have the changed information. So it doesn't automatically like change everything on both trees.
Only sings one way.
Yes. Yeah. Does that make sense? I'm getting a few puzzled.
Yeah.
I'll go into it later. Yeah. If I have time, I'll show you about that. Okay. So possible duplicates. This is when you would search for someone that's a potential duplicate. Okay. And then data problems. So missing standardized burial place. This is what I'm going to do. If there were records on Family Search associated with this person that have not been linked, there would also be a little box up here saying like sources, and then you could attach it here. Okay. So if I click on the burial place, if I click on any piece of information, it's going to open up this box. It's going to allow me to edit it, delete it. It's going to tell me who modified it and when, so that's myself. If I want to see if it's been modified multiple times, I would go to history and it'll tell me each time it's been modified. And it has a source that's been attached that's been tagged. Now, tagging a source means that I know this particular piece of information is correct because of this source. So if I have a census record, I attach it as a source that's a general source to the person, but I'm not going to tag it for the burial because I don't know the burial is correct because of the census record.
Say that last part again.
If I have attached a census record, right, as a particular source to this person, okay, it's a source that's here. But I'm not going to basically use that census record as proof of the death.
Oh, okay.
And so this is, getting back to your question, Robert, is if someone has put incorrect information in, what I would do is I would do research, find out the correct information, add it there, and then I would use the sources that I put to basically prove that I know this information is correct because of these sources.
So is that what standardized means?
No, this is what standardized means. So I open it up, and you see that there's no standardized, no standard selected. So this is the same for dates. So I say, let's just say 10 June 1890. Okay, this would be the standard. So if I click on the standard, then it's going to show up in green. And this just means that when someone searches for this person, it's going to pick the year, 1890 correctly. Place of burial. Okay. It simply means that I haven't clicked the standardized place, which it's a little weird.
I
But
think it just tries to make them all the same.
yeah, it just tries to standardize the place names, which, as we know,
Rochester's
in genealogy, that doesn't always the case. Yeah, so like if I undo the,
It was Rochester.
okay, it was Rochester, something is missing. So now I save that, and the whole thing goes away. So it's not that it's not that big of an issue. It just means that someone didn't click the exact thing that Family Search wanted them to.
And then it shows that you changed it down here.
Yep.
Yes, it does. Burial change. Okay, so if you come over here now to memories, this is where you can attach photos, you can attach documents, you can attach stories, audio, and I'm guessing in the future at some point they'll probably do video. And so if if I click on any of these people, it's going to tell me who uploaded it. This is my great grandmother. Okay, so this is my mom. And you can put in details, etc., etc. Okay. So and then I'll show you how to upload. If you come to memories, you click upload photo. It's going to pull up your browser. This is all the files on my computer. Okay, and then I just navigate to wherever the photo is. I click it, and it uploads. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's see, anything else here? All right, any questions so far?
Any issues if you have a Mac or if this works?
No, it works. It works. Okay, so in addition to viewing the tree like this, you can also view it as a fan chart. Okay, you can view it in portrait mode. So this is just there are different ways to look at it, basically. Okay. Down here by person, it'll give you a list of people that you've recently worked on. Okay, and so you kind of know who you've worked on recently. Yeah.
The fan chart was 2 generations back.
It goes 4, I believe. Yep. So yeah, this is me 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 generations. Now, how do you center someone here that's not yourself, or for that matter, in the tree? How do you do that? So if I come back here, if I'm at a person page, if I hit View Tree right here, that is going to center them here in the tree. So if I come to my kind of a standard tree view, then this is her, this is the center, and now it's going to center her. Let me give you kind of a better example. So this is a different man. It's going to center, but so it's also going to go in both directions. So these are all his children, and now I can come down this one line, and I can just keep on going back. So it gives you versatility in viewing the tree. Yeah, you had a question?
It's interesting, Trey, and I constantly ask the question of people who produce this stuff, including people who produce utilities. Is there a format for a tree for a married couple? For instance, I constantly share with first and second cousins, and we want to share our tree based upon a common pair of ancestors. And apparently there's no such tree that can be printed or produced, or a PDF layout that shows a married pair.
That has
Let's
like
say
them
the
and
same
then their
great
descendants?
grandparents. You want to do this. So for that married pair, there is no one seems to have a tree that's producible in that respect.
Yeah. So I don't know if Family Search has such a thing. If I had to guess, I would guess not. I'd guess that a lot of the genealogy softwares, Roots Magic, Family Tree Maker, these things probably have like better capabilities at producing fancier charts. No.
Nobody does.
So I'm guessing Family Search does not do it either. Yeah. Okay. So find. Okay, there's find and there's search, which is kind of confusing, but the difference is find is you're looking for a person that has already been put into Family Search. So there's already information, someone has put information about that person onto Family Search, and you want to see if it's there. That's where you use find. Search is searching for records about a particular person. So if I come to find, right, this is where this ID number can come into. Okay, I have an ancestor named John Smith. Okay, I say David, my brother. Look at the picture that I uploaded about John Smith, and I'll give them that 7-digit code. All he has to do is find by ID, type that in, and bam, he finds it. On the contrary, if he comes here and goes, John, I did Smith, John Smith, and he was married or born in 1850. If I hit find, I'm going to get everything under the sun. Okay, and it's going to be almost impossible for me to find the person. Okay, but so. Okay, so it's going to give you, all the people, right, that have been put on search, and their spouses, their parents, etc. And all I have to do is I come here, come down to person, and you can see that this is a really kind of weak example in that someone doesn't really have much information, okay, but they put it into a tree. And if I had to guess, this is probably their ancestor, and then they were doing other research. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention: when you click on any piece of information, as I did mention, you can see who changed it. Now, if you click on their name, depending on their privacy settings, you can either send an email. So I have it set so that anyone clicks on my name, they see my email, and they can send me an email. And I've had many people reach out to me and send me an email and say, hey, my name is this. I've noticed you put in information about a particular person. What information do you have? Where did you find it? How are you related? And I've actually connected with distant cousins this way. So as an example, last summer, my family and I took a trip to Germany and we visited our ancestral villages. It was awesome. But before we did that, I think it was my 7th cousin once removed. He found information he found information that I had put on Family Search, and he contacted me and said, hey, I'm just getting into genealogy, how are you related? And we met up for dinner at a pub, and it was awesome. It was great. Okay, so if they don't have an email address, you can send them a message. Okay, and it sends them a message within Family Search. So that next time they log on, you come up to the top here, messages, and there will be like a little exclamation point, like, hey, you have a message. Right? And so these are a bunch of different messages that I have from other people or I've sent to other people. So you can communicate that way with people on Family Search who have inputted information about a particular person. Okay. So that's fine. Okay, lists is if you add the person you're watching. As I showed you an example. If you're worried that someone might change a piece of information, you can click that little star button at the top here, and then you're watching them. Or if you hope that in the future someone will put information, you can watch them, and then you come here. That gives you a list of all the people you're doing that to. Okay. What's new is just going to show you. It's just going to tell you what's new in Family Tree. So it's going to talk about new records that have been uploaded or this, that, or that. So now, if I come to search, any of you that have searched on Ancestry or any of these sites know that if you put in, any piece of information just into the generic search, you're going to get a ton of records. You're going to get census, you're going to get birth, marriage, death, you're going to get photos, you're going to get, everything. And that can be useful as a start, but you really want to get to, if you're looking for a census record or a birth record, you don't want to do this in that general search, right? And so there are a couple ways to kind of narrow down where you're looking for things. Okay? So one is over here, research by location. So you can either click on maps of the world, okay? You can type in a collection title, or my preferred method is coming here to browse all published collections. Now, a collection is any set of records that are similar. Okay, so Alabama County Marriages, Arkansas Death Index, etc. So it's going to tell you in here the number of records. This is the records that have been indexed, so they're searchable, okay, and when they were last updated. So you can see that this record set of Alabama births and christenings was last updated 5 years ago, so it's probably complete. More information probably isn't being placed on, right? But this one, as an example, is more recent, right? Or there might be even an example that it's like 21 July. So maybe there are more records being put on this, next week, right? So you can tell to see if records are being added to. Okay. You'll see some of these say browse images. Okay. This means that images have been digitized but not indexed. Okay. So also, whether they've been digitized or indexed, if they have a camera next to it, that means you'll be able to look at the record itself. This one, Alabama deaths, this is something that has been indexed probably 20 or 30 years ago. There are no images associated with that information, it's just an index. So if I come to Alabama probate records as an example, if I hit browse images, okay, I'll just pick a random place. Okay, this is going to be, this is what, if you were to have ordered this microfilm 10 years ago, right, it would start out, and this would be the first image, right, then the next image would be this one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just come to a random image. Okay, you can see that this is minutes from a court meeting or something, right? So you can browse image by image, whereas before you would have to order a microfilm and scroll on a reader. Okay? What's nice about this is you can download a particular image to your computer, and then I would say this has whatever I want. You can adjust the contrast, etc., pretty standard. But one of the things you can do is you can also attach it to a family tree. Okay, so if you attach it, you select the person that you would attach it to. Right? And so this is where this little code would come in handy. So you find the code for that person, you put it in there, and it would attach it as a source to that person.
Can you attach it to two people?
Yes. Yep.
Devin, just as an example for this group, could you take a look at some of the New York records?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'll get to that. Go back. Oh. Okay. So I won't forget about that. But so once you come to this, so I'll go back to the start just to do it a second time. So I can either click on the map. Click on the map, or I could come browse all the collections. Okay. Once I'm here, then I can filter the collection too, similar to Ancestry or any other place. Okay, so let's come to United States. Now it's going to do by state, so New York, and these are all the records. These are all the collections. Okay, so let's. Okay, well, nothing with the title of Jewish in it. But I'll show you a second way to look for these different collections. Okay. So then, say if I want to search just the 1875 New York Census, if I click on this, okay, now I can search within that one collection. It's only going to find stuff in here.
What's the difference between the camera and the box around the icon?
Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. I do not know.
I actually know.
You know that?
It depends on
It tells
whether
you.
it's
Yeah,
on.
you're right. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
if the ones with the thing on the back, you have to be at the Family History Center to see it.
Okay.
The other ones you can see
So,
anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So I do know that the 1915, 1925 New York State Census are available through Ancestry. So it's like a partnership with Ancestry. So if you want to view the images, you have to have an Ancestry account or be at the Family History Center. Yeah.
So you might
Good
still
point.
be able to get through it even though there's a box if you have that.
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Thanks. Okay. So next one. So the other one that's important is catalog. Okay. And this is where you search. We search for a place. You can search for a particular surname, title, author, subject, keyword, etc. So someone give me a place that they're interested in.
I know this will work for you. Jezów, Poland.
Okay.
Jezow, Poland.
Okay. Which one of these is it?
It is the one in Żyny, so the first one. Żyny. There we go.
Okay, so this will now give an example of all the records that the LDS Church has about this particular place. Now, this is a good example for you, but let me come back to that because I want to give you a one that has more. Okay, so this one has census records, cemetery records, biographies, bibliographies, etc., etc. Okay. Now, these are all different sorts of media. So these can be microfilms, they can be books, they can be microfiche, they can be images that you can then browse. They can be links to other places. So, as an example, let's see if I can find a book. Church history. Yeah, okay, good question. So it'll give you a catalog number, which won't really help, but how many of you have used WorldCat before? Okay, so this is a bad example, so I won't use it. Okay, view this catalog record in WorldCat. So if you absolutely have to have this book, you can see where it's located, and then you could go to your local library, and you could, yeah. Oh, this that too. Right. Yeah, so you have to order an ILL, right? And some of them, unfortunately, yeah, some of them you can't get through ILL. Some of them are like reference books or something, but that's how you would see if the book is available. Yeah, because you can't just order it from Salt Lake. Okay. So let me actually do. One that I know will work again. Okay, so this is St. Louis church records, and the one I want is this one. Okay, so if I come to this church, it's going to say it's on 4 microfilm rails. Before, when they weren't indexed, okay, there would be a little icon of a wheel here. You would click on the wheel, and that's how you'd order the microfilm. This icon is obviously camera, meaning that the records have been digitized now. And there's a third icon that there can be a magnifying glass. That means they've been indexed, or at least partially indexed. So you can search for names within that microfilm. Okay. So if I click on the camera, it's going to take me to the images from that microfilm. Now, again, as before, there are 929 images I can browse through, et cetera, et cetera. I mentioned earlier that depending on the agreement that the LDS Church has with whatever organization owns that, sometimes you won't be able to see it. So if that is the case, it'll pop up a message saying these images are viewable at a Family History Center. And you won't be able to see them. But if you go to the Family History Center, and it's not even your own computer in the Family History Center, it's one of the computers at the Family History Center that you have to use to look at them. But then you can download them just as you normally would. Right? And then save it onto a flash drive and put it on your computer that way. But, so if I were to try to find this church record by looking, how do I say this clearly? When I went to the search and browse all published collections, if I went to St. Louis, Missouri, this probably would not pop up. Okay. So I have to search kind of both ways. One, doing the browse all published collections, the first way I showed you, and then this way, using the catalog to look for things. Okay. The next, so there's a tab specifically for books. Okay, and these are, so a lot of these actually have been digitized, so you can actually look at images from the book. Okay, now I do want to go back to the place that Debbie suggested, except didn't do it at all. Okay, what was the place name?
JEZOW.
Yeah. Okay, do you want church record? Jewish records. So church records normally refers to like Roman Catholic, Lutheran, Baptist, etc. Not Jewish. If there's Jewish, it'll say.
But let me add that any records that say church records prior to 1826, you'll find Jewish records in there too because there wasn't any other place. So it's always worth it to look, get your hands on those records and look through them for your answers.
So when you say that, you're meaning like a Lutheran church would have Jewish people in them?
Well, in this case, it'd be Catholic.
Okay.
These are Catholic records, and so Jews had no other place to go to register, so they would be in the church registries.
And I'm showing that I know nothing about Jewish history.
That was the year that I think Jews were required to register in Poland.
So this is basically the Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know if it's specific to Poland, but that's been my experience with Polish research. That starting in 1826, you can start to see the records for these small towns being divided into Catholic records versus Jewish records.
So you can see here that the marriages start in 1826, so I wonder if you went back to the church records, which are starting much earlier, you'd find
You would. That's what I'm saying. You need to look at both, but obviously probably your first draw would be the Jewish metrical records, and those are usually birth, marriage, and death records. Metrica means metrical.
So if I click on this, let's see, it's going to tell me it's 4 microfilms. If I come down, now this key, I believe, means, yeah, with additional restrictions. So I think it means you have to be at a family history center. Let me test that theory.
That's true.
Yeah, okay. So we can't look at it now.
But I could go to the
Okay, so
to your center
yes,
and
yep,
see them.
yeah. So a family search affiliate library would be like the National Archives in Washington D.C. or the New York Public Library is probably an affiliate library. So some of the big, big genealogical libraries that aren't associated with the LDS Church.
I think Olivia Rainey is actually one of the affiliate libraries.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good to know. The Olivia Rainey Library?
That's a Wake County library that specializes in history.
Okay.
The closest one is Devin's closest one.
Yes.
I guess it will. Look at that. Okay, so let me go back because that's important. So if you click on Find a Family History Center affiliate library, you can actually search for them. So let's do that. Let's search for Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so this one is yeah. Look at that. This one is probably an LDS one. Yep. This one is another LDS one, and then yeah, so the one in Chapel Hill is right here. Yep. Oh, and I need to change our hours online. That's good to know. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the research wiki. Okay. So if you come to search and then research wiki, okay, again you can search by place by clicking on the map, or if I type in Jewish, okay, Jewish genealogy research. Now this is, as a wiki, it's put together by volunteers, right? So and things change over time also. Okay. So it's going to tell me, basically. Simple things, ethnic divisions of Judaism, etc. Here are some key internet links. You probably are familiar with a lot of these sites. Okay, and so we're just going down, helpful guides, etc. But over here, right, there are links to other pages on the wiki. So research by country, region, and city. So if I click on that, now I want to get into Galician Jewish research. Okay, now it's going to give me a separate site about this. Gazetteer, History of the Jews, etc., etc. Okay, and so, it's like immigration, emigration, so that's a separate one. So there are lots of different sites that have a lot of information on the research wiki.
How did you originally get to that?
Okay, if you put your cursor over search and go to wiki on the bottom. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So these, these will have. These will probably mostly be links to outside resources. This is where you find links outside. It also has links to specific collections in Family Search that are associated with this. But yeah, this is the research wiki. So, okay. Questions up until this point. So if I come to, my name here, and I hit settings, this is where, I change my password. This is where I would put in my contact information and make it public if I so choose. Now, as I said, I choose to make my email address public so that anyone can reach out to me and ask me, because I've met with a bunch of people. So notifications, this is, do you want these newsletters emailed to you, right? Accounts. Okay, so Next is the source box. So if you have Ancestry, you know what your shoebox is, right? So this is a source box. It has all the sources, both. This is where you would come to what's family tree and how do I use it, and that sort of thing. Contact us. That would be, this is, if you have a question about, you can do a research question, but it also can be about like the software in Family Search. Okay, you can, that's what I would do. Call this number. Now this is 24/7. These are volunteers all over the world that have been trained in using Family Search and the resources. So you can talk to a live person. They can look at your account and try to help you figure things out. I've had, there are some glitches that happen from time to time, and so that is, I've called them, and they've taken care of that. Okay. My case is if you do call someone, it makes a case file not important. You can also get to the research wiki here. Okay, Learning Center. This is the one that I really want. Okay, so this is something that most people that have used Family Search have no idea is there. So these are presentations, normally like videos of people, doing presentations about any aspect of genealogy. So getting started, Irish genealogy, Hungarian ancestors, etc., etc. So if we come here, again, I'll just type in Jewish. Okay. There are two videos, and these are hour-long videos about Poland English and Jewish research. Okay, that might be of interest to people. Now, I haven't watched these. I don't know the content. But these are free videos, tutorials, things like that, about a number of different aspects of family history. For those of you that are on Ancestry, have you used Ancestry Academy? You know what that is? Okay. Basically, it's the same type thing. It has free videos about any sort of genealogy, and I find that a lot of people that have been using Ancestry for a long time also have no idea that that exists. So it's these sites are really powerful, but you have to know where to look for things because it's not just typing in a name in the search box, right? Okay. So. What else? I think I might be finishing early. Very early. Okay. I don't know what else.
I bet there's some people here who would be happy to give you a little project so you can go up there and show us how you would do some research.
Sure. That's a great plan.
Is the church continuing to find resources like particularly in Europe?
Yes.
And what's being done, and what's the balance between digitizing and indexing?
Yeah, good question. So I know that the LDS Church is continuing to collect records. Not collect in the sense like hoard them, but digitizing them. So no more microfilms are being made. It's outdated. And so there are many volunteers all over the world that are photographing church books, archival material that are being constantly put onto Family Search as digital images.
So the new stuff is being digitized, and then there's a parallel effort to index it as
Yes. Yeah. There's okay. I want to talk about Family Search and Ancestry, so I'll get to that. But yes. So there's a parallel effort. I don't know what percentage of resources are going towards digitizing the microfilms versus collecting new records, but they're both going at the same time.
Maybe a question for the group. Is Family Tree a popular site for Jewish genealogy, so that if I go to the trouble of putting my tree there, is there a good chance that I'll find other people researching the same thing?
I would say it's most popular among LDS genealogists, but LDS genealogists can have Jewish ancestry. I don't have a good answer.
I have had really good luck that I hadn't been able to find any other way. They have a lot of state and local records, which at least when I was doing it, were not available elsewhere. So it's always worth looking.
So I should mention, I'll get to your question in a second. I should mention there's no way to just upload a GEDCOM to Family Search. Yeah, you have to do it person by person, and then hook into someone who's already been done. If not, then you have to enter that information yourself. Yeah.
Could you go over the syncing?
Yes. Between Family Search and Ancestry?
Family tree and,
Yes.
and search.
Yes. Yes, I will.
I was just experience. I've been looking all my life for how my mother and my father were related, because I know their mothers were first cousins, but I didn't know how. And my husband, a couple of weeks ago, found it, and found the link, the missing link. And I hadn't found it any other way.
I think as a genealogist, you have to use all the resources that are out there, and no one place is going to have everything. Okay, so yeah, let me go to Ancestry and show you how to do this thing. Okay, so if I come to my tree, okay, and then I come to a particular person. Okay, you see up here, there's going to be this little family search icon. So I click on it, say, I have to sign, which I will. Okay, that's up. Up here. Now, compare person on Family Search. Okay, actually, first you have to link the person. So I'll disconnect him, and I'll show you how to reconnect it. Okay, so it's gonna look through Family Search to see if we can find the same person. Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna find this is the person, or you can add to Family Search if it's not there, or, again, use ID, right? Okay. Yeah, question?
My tree doesn't have that icon.
On Family Tree Maker?
No, I have
On
Ancestry.
I've never seen it either.
It's not there.
Is it if you're a Family Search member, has there been a way to connect it to Ancestry accounts?
Huh. I will have to look into that.
I'm finding on Family
Yeah.
Tree Maker,
Okay.
but it's not coming up.
It's not coming on Family Tree Maker either?
No, get it on. Let me.
Or you get on Family Tree Maker but not Ancestry?
If you don't have the update for Family Tree Maker, you wouldn't have those two.
You know, I have the update. I have the update, and I'm signed in to Family Tree Maker because there's a place in Health where it talks about syncing.
Let me okay. Linking Family
Search.
Search.
Family Search, so I did that.
Where's the Family Search icon that you sent?
And I have the Family Search icon when I sign in to Family Tree Maker, but I don't have, it doesn't seem to have carried over to Ancestry, and I have just synced it.
All these steps you already linked. Okay. I will figure out the answer to that question, and then I will email Debbie. Yeah. I was unaware. Okay.
What does the sync mean? If you find something
Yeah, I'll show you.
Ancestry, does it go over the?
I'll show you. Okay. So I'm gonna connect these two people, right? Okay. So now when I come here, I can do view person on, oh, I didn't want to view it, I'm going to compare person on family search. Okay. It's going to show me, on the left, all the information about that person on family search. Here, it's the person on Ancestry. Okay. Now, this information happens to be the same, but if it were different, in order to change it on either side, all I would have to do is click a box, and it gets moved over. Okay. So say the information on, see, this is Ancestry is correct. I would click the box, and it would move it over to Family Search. If the information on Family Search was correct, I would click the box, it would move from Family Search to Ancestry. Okay. And so it's not a sync. It doesn't do it automatically. You have to do it yourself. So it connects the people on from your tree with the tree on Family Search, so that you can then change the information.
The one you're on right now, the christening one.
Yeah.
On the one on the left, it says sources are one.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you look to the right, it says compare two sources.
Yeah.
So what are the two? Oh, they have to click on it still.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to.
Just want to see.
Oh, okay. So these are the sources right here. I don't know why this is no source title.
But what's the other source?
I don't know. No source title. It's probably a glitch.
Unless it's the place. Is that one source, or is it not?
No. So the source would be this. No source title. I'm not sure. So this tree comes from a GEDCON that I uploaded. So maybe in preparing the GEDCON, it did something with the sources. But if you come down here, two sources, right? So this is Family Search and this is Ancestry. I can also take sources that I put on Family Search and move them over to Ancestry. Okay. And do the same thing. Okay, so I'll just click on these. And there might be a connect all button.
So that's how you sort of sync things then.
Yes. Yeah. So it doesn't automatically change things. You have to do it. You have to do it yourself. Which is,
That was your point, though. If somebody else had made a source change and you didn't agree with it, you would put it over.
So then I would just save changes, and then things would be updated on both sides. Again, so I will look into that. I'm sure it's something as simple as there's settings on Ancestry where you have to link your Family Search account or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know what it is at the moment. But Family Tree Maker, Debbie, you were saying there is a way to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Family Tree Maker, also Roots Magic is another one some people use that can do that.
And the question is, what is it that gets? I mean, you can't automatically transfer an entire file. You're just transferring people. So if you have just an account on a tree on, I have a very rudimentary tree on Family Search, but 10,000 people on Ancestry. So if I make a change in Ancestry and sync it to Devin Search, that person goes into my rudimentary tree?
Yes.
It does.
Well, but so if the person that you have on your Ancestry exists in Family Search, you connect the people, and then you could sync that information. If it doesn't exist in Family Search, you could create the person in Family Search, and then sync that way. Is that a good answer?
But it only syncs information about that person. For example,
correct.
I'm assuming. So if you have an ancestry, a person, and you have 4 children, in Family Search, you just created the record with that person. And when you compare them, will it bring up the children that you can then add?
Yeah, so there is a way to
And then
add relatives from Family Search. Okay, so say this is a person on Family Search that's not in Ancestry, right? I could add the immediate family members. I think you can do it the other way too.
Can you copy them from Ancestry? I mean, you know, when the record comes up in Ancestry, you might see the children.
Mm-hmm. So let's see compare person on Family Search and see if it gives you the option. Yeah. Connected spouse. Okay, additional children not linked to your ancestry tree. Unconnected. To transfer data for these people, you'll first need to connect them or add them on Family Search. Okay, so yeah, I haven't connected, everyone in this family. So I think you have to go by on an individual basis.
Where do you keep your primary records?
It's a program called Reunion, and yeah. So this is like Family Tree Maker. This is like Roots Magic, like any of the other ones. It's just called Reunion. When I started, my dad did a bunch of research and found this was the best one for Mac. So that's what I use. For Mac. It's expensive. If I was starting now, I probably wouldn't get it because it can't sync with anything. Which is, it's not bad, right? But any information that I find, I have to then manually input it into Ancestry or Family Search.
So any record you have in any of those other search engines is beta information. This is your output information?
Correct. That is correct. Yeah.
So how do you make sure that you always have correct output information? How do you not get confused with all your sources?
Okay, so the way that I do things, if I have an ancestor that's living in the United States, that person is probably going to be found in 5 census records, as an example. In my file, I would only really attach the sources like a birth record, a marriage record, a death record. I wouldn't really attach the census records. In my Family Search or my Ancestry, then I would attach the census records. But for me, for my main purpose in purely information, like birth, marriage, death, dates, that information is not as interesting to me, and so I wouldn't have all the sources everywhere. Does that answer your question?
It sounds dangerous.
Huh?
It sounds dangerous.
Yeah. I don't know what to.
Well, it raises the question: how many different places do you want all or part of your family tree to be? And I'm kind of tearing my hair out. I've got people to one degree or another. I've got family trees in 4 places.
Mm-hmm.
Do I take one down and upload the GenCom from another one?
Yeah.
Make everything.
So it gets into the question: what is your objective, right? In putting your tree on Ancestry, in putting your tree on Family Search, what is your main objective? Is it to connect with people that are researching, connect with relatives? Is it to just find information about your ancestors? What is your objective? And then you can start to answer, where do I need it and how much of it do I need?
This goes back to the old publish or perish kind of thing. You need to have a repository of it that won't get lost. So having it exist in at least one place, besides having people find you, which is the greatest thing in the world when people find you, there is this security you get to know that if you should, on the way home, and you forgot to give your tree to someone with a password, you know that it's out there. Yeah. So I think that's really important that gets done, regardless of what you think what you can do and hold on to your tree.
Yeah.
So if I have my family on Ancestry and I can find them on Family Search, and I want to put it on there, how do I find out where I find my tree on this worldwide tree?
Yeah. So
where do I add it in?
Yeah. So do you have a Family Search account?
I probably do, but I don't remember.
Okay. So when you first get here, you'd want to start populating at least the.
Didn't you say you can't really upload the whole tree? You
No,
have to
don't
put
worry. Yeah, but
Right,
even one at
right.
a time, right? Where do I
Right.
add the first one?
What we
Who do I associate?
And then how do you know who's already on there? Does it-
So living people, as I said, you're gonna have to add each living person on your personal tree. No one else can see. So you need to add them as like place markers. Then once you get to someone that's dead, okay, let me do an example here. So, okay, I'm gonna hit add child, right, to this couple. So this would be my great aunt, and I know that her name is Doris Balmer. I know that she was born in 1929. Okay, next, and it would search through all the people that are on Family Search to see if Doris Balmer is on there. And then you'd have to, depending on how many hits you get, you'd have to either refine your search or you have to sift through those people to see if your person is already on there. If they were on there, then you hit add person, and you would attach that to the family, or you would have to create a new person on this.
So the first thing I have to find somebody who's deceased.
Yes.
That I know there's a relative of mine.
Yeah.
That's on Family Search.
Yeah.
And
And
start from there.
yeah, and I'm guessing that there will be branches of your tree that will be on there and branches of your tree that won't be on there. The ones that will be on there will probably be anyone that's living in the United States. Ones that probably won't, that might not be on there are outside of that, based on my personal experience. So you might have to kind of stitch together branches of the tree that are on there, creating your own things that you have but aren't on there yet.
When I made a connection on Genie.com, which is also
Yep.
a one world tree, I connected my grandmother to her mother, who was on the tree, on the Genie tree. There's a notice about approval of this connection, and then I got an email through Genie from the person who had posted my great-grandmother. And we began a conversation that way. But when you connect to somebody who's on there in Genie, who has the same kind of purpose, you actually get, you can get person-to-person conversation.
Yeah. So Family Search doesn't require that prior approval.
Right.
But if you're attaching to someone that's already on there, you can see who's worked on that person most recently, and then you can contact them. But I guess you have to take the initiative.
And how would you find if someone in your family is in the system already?
Yeah.
Without starting a tree
Yep.
yourself?
If you come here to find it, okay? This is going to search for people that are in the system.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So John Smith, 1850. Let's do a more realistic one. The name of your great grandfather, great grandmother's someone.
Put in Hyman, Hyman, Kramer, Kramer.
Okay, when was he born, approximately, or do you know his?
1882, I think.
Okay. Do you know his spouse's name?
Yes, Etta? No, TTA. Goffey, Goffee.
Okay, probably not him. Because the top ones are don't match. Okay, place of birth.
Latvia.
Yeah, probably definitely not going to be on there. Okay.
No.
And you want to try this a second time? See if we can get a hit. Yeah.
Alexander. Oops, F-U-C-H-A.
Was he married?
Yes. Sophie. Her name was Yolesh. Y-O-L-E-S-C-H.
No. Okay. Third time the charmer. strike out. Maybe we won't go. Maybe we won't go there.
I have a name that might not.
Okay.
Send Z last name, first name Max.
Okay.
Strike ZIMGELS.
Okay. Any of these? In doxing?
Yep.
No.
Try Z and
I don't. Yeah, that probably won't. Oh.
I guess I'll have to do a little more searching before I start adding people
Yeah.
onto family
As I said, I think, if they're living in this U.S., if there's better probability that they'll be on there, because more people will probably work.
You could add them before you need to link anybody.
Yeah, okay. Good point. So if I come here, I can hit add unconnected person down here at the bottom. So you can add a person, just have them floating out there.
Assign the code.
Yeah, they would be assigned a code. Yep.
And then if somebody else came up and looked like they wouldn't match, you would be notified?
So yeah, you could choose to watch them,
Watch them.
and then they'd be notified.
So it's interesting on Family Tree Maker, when you get instead of a leaf, you get a box.
Yep.
Okay. If you click on that box that's next to the person, it takes you to a list of people, which are differently if you do a search on Family Search. Family Search is a very broad thing. But when you click on that box next to a person, it takes you to a list, a completely different kind of list of people with code numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, people who were in a tree. And so I find that an interesting difference when you do a search on Family Search. If there's actually two engines at work here.
That's going to change. Family Tree Maker is going to give you the same search that you see here, but it's going to be a while. Right now, it's just the primary sources.
Sorry, I'm just writing something so I don't forget. I was listening.
One more question. It's really for Debbie on Ancestry, but it applies to is that